So one of my favorite Chinese smartphone manufacturers, Oppo, has revealed the Oppo Find X8 lineup. As typical with Chinese smartphones, their Ultra phones typically come a few months later. So today we're going to be looking at the Oppo Find X8 and the Oppo Find X8 Pro. Let's go ahead and talk about these phones. So first, as always, let's talk about displays. The Oppo Find X8 is going to be coming in with a 6.59-inch display, whereas the Oppo Find X8 Pro is going to be coming in with a 6.78-inch display. Both displays are going to be AMOLED panels, beautiful, beautiful OLED panels, as always. We're going to have 120 Hz on both phones. Now, this is pretty typical with your high-end smartphone nowadays. Now, one thing that is kind of common with Oppo here, and it's kind of mind-boggling, to be honest with you guys, kind of ridiculous too. Both phones, both panels are going to be coming with a whopping 4,500 nits of peak brightness. I repeat, 4,500 nits of peak brightness. Now, I know peak brightness is different to sustained brightness, so in order to achieve peak brightness, you gotta be outside with adaptive brightness turned on. It's gotta be really sunny out there, and you gotta be watching specific HDR content. That's what you reach with your peak brightness. But as we've seen with Oppo phones in the past, their sustained brightness is always really bright, nice, so whenever you're outside and it's real sunny out there, you're gonna be able to see what's on your phone. So, great display tech as always. Great job, Oppo. So now real quick, let's talk about those massive batteries. The Oppo Find X8 is going to be coming in with a 5,630 milliamp hour battery. Now the Oppo Find X8 Pro is going to be coming in with a massive 5,910 milliamp hour battery. That's almost 6,000 milliamp hours, and this isn't even their Ultra phone. Now, both phones are going to be at 80 watt wire charging and 50 watt wireless charging. Their wireless charging is pretty much faster than all US manufacturer smartphone brands' wire charging. Insane. Oppo and to pretty much, honestly, all those Chinese smartphone manufacturers, huge props for kind of pushing the boundaries with battery sizes and battery charging speeds. Now, I know that battery size isn't the only determining factor of how long a device lasts throughout the day, but come on, guys. These are huge batteries that they're putting in these phones. Look at these US companies. Look at Samsung, Google, Apple. All of their battery sizes are at or near 5,000 milliamp hours, and they already have pretty solid battery lives. Now, imagine if these US companies push the envelope with battery sizes like these Chinese companies are with that optimized software. Because, as I said in the past and here, that battery size is kind of dependent based on how optimized the software is, how good it is at utilizing, making sure apps aren't draining the battery and stuff like that. Optimization and battery size are two very important things. Now, imagine if US companies could bring the bigger sizes too. That would be game changing. They'd be able to, kind of market, 2-day battery life. Because honestly, I'm really happy that Oppo and these other Chinese companies are pushing these huge batteries, as I've said so many times in the past. But I'm very also curious to see how this kind of goes head to head with these smartphones in the US, because they are very optimized on the software side. Let's see, does a bigger battery really mean it's going to beat these other phones? So I'm really excited to see any battery drain tests and stuff out there, kind of see how these phones go head to head. But hey, I'm just saying, on paper, S24 Ultra 5,000 milliamp hours, Oppo Find X8 Pro, not Ultra, 5,910 milliamp hours, ridiculous. So huge props to Oppo. This is some great improvements from last year. Now, real quick, let's just talk about the chip that's going to be in these phones. Now, it's going to be same as the Vivo X200 lineup. It is actually going to be the MediaTek Dimensity 9400 SoC. So, hey, I'm a MediaTek fan. I'm really happy with these MediaTek chips. Now, I would have liked to see a Snapdragon chip, preferably the Snapdragon Elite chip that's coming out with these newer flagship models. But hey, I have nothing to complain about. So I do know that they're probably, hopefully, on the Ultra phones going to be bringing that Snapdragon chip out. But I'm really happy to see that the MediaTek 9400 is on these chips, on these phones, because like I said, really good chip. So nice. And now probably my favorite part of this video, the cameras. I love Oppo's cameras, always with that tuned by Hasselblad. Amazing cameras. I love Oppo cameras. They are one of my, honestly, top 3 favorite smartphone cameras, period. Amazing cameras. So let's talk about those. And there are a lot of things I do like, and one thing that in particular I'm kind of iffy about, and I'm not going to really be able to know until I own the X8 Ultra if they're going to be making those same changes there. More on that later. But let's talk about the cameras here. The Oppo Find X8 is going to be coming with 3 50-megapixel cameras. Love the consistency. 50-megapixel main camera, 50-megapixel ultra-wide, and a 50-megapixel 3x sensor for telephoto shots. Now, with the X8 Pro, we're going to have a 50-megapixel main camera, a 50-megapixel ultra-wide, 50-megapixel 3x telephoto lens, and a 50-megapixel 6x telephoto lens. That's going to be great for zoom shots. 120x is the maximum zoom you can get on these phones, and it is enhanced with AI. More on the AI talk a bit later. But honestly, on paper, megapixel-wise, fantastic cameras. And like I said, Oppo shots have always been incredible. Now, the one thing that I was kind of a bit iffy about at first, but after seeing sample shots, I was like, all right, I got nothing to worry about here, is the fact that they actually decreased the sensor sizes from last year. So if you guys remember, the main sensor sizes in those previous phones from last year on the X7 lineup were 1-inch sensors. They are smaller now. Here on screen here, I'll show you guys the sizes of these sensors for these X8 phones, for the X8 and the X8 Pro, but they are slightly smaller sensors, to be honest with you guys. Now, I thought, okay, this may kind of result in something that's like, okay, it might be on par or maybe even a bit lower than the X7 phones. But to be honest, look at these sample shots up here. These are fantastic photos. So I honestly really don't have anything to kind of worry me when I'm going to be taking pictures, because this phone is still going to be taking fantastic photos, better than pretty much any US phone, to be honest with you guys, because like I said, all these Chinese companies, they always love pushing that crazy camera tech. So I'm always going to be really excited to see how this is going to perform, especially on the X8 Ultra. But just take a look at these sample shots. These are incredible. If you told me these were taken on a smartphone and I was just some random dude on the street, I'd be like, man, I don't believe you, because these look fantastic. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about these and what you think about the camera changes, because honestly, I think it's in the good direction. Because if they're still able to achieve photos like this and by decreasing the sensor size, honestly, I'm amazed. So Oppo, huge thumbs up. Always really happy with the camera setup. Also, I kind of didn't mention it, but not that it really matters, but the front-facing camera are going to be 32 megapixel sensors on both phones. Great for selfie shots. It's going to be a great camera, but we're more focused on those rear cameras, to be honest with you guys. So now, real quick, let's talk about the OS here. So Oppo's OS is going to be Color OS. Honestly, one of my favorite operating systems from any Chinese smartphone manufacturer. Really happy to see the improvements they've done over the years. Now, let's talk about it here real quick. And I did mention a little bit about AI previously, earlier in the video, so let's go ahead and dive into that as well. So we have the software-based AI, which is going to be like your writing assist and all that stuff we've seen with previous smartphones. But we also have a lot of interesting camera-related AI features. So it's honestly going to be really nice to see them in action. Some of them, just to kind of list a few, is going to be like with the zooming AI to help with zoom, help with clearer shots, help with color accuracy, with skin tones and all that stuff. So honestly, really happy to see this and very excited to see it in action, because like I said, I'm always impressed with these Oppo cameras, and having AI in them, it's honestly going to be good. And I feel like that's kind of one of the big reasons that's also helping the camera, although having smaller sensor sizes, is that just software improvement and the AI. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think with Oppo's integration of AI. I think they're doing a fantastic job, and I feel like they're focusing more towards the AI on the camera side, as they probably should, to be honest with you, than like the software related AI with like the summarization and stuff like that. But yeah, really happy to see, and I'll kind of throw on some images on the screen right now to kind of show you guys what AI they're kind of talking about with these new phones. Now, one thing that I noticed during their like keynote presentation with these new phones that I really wanted to talk about is Oppo's disses to Samsung. Take a look at these.
Other interfaces seriously start to struggle, slowing down just after a bit. 5,000 milliampere hours are considered standard for a large battery. 5,630 milliampere hours battery. Every shot with lightning snap stays sharp, providing pristine details and texture, while burst mode on others blur pretty much every single frame.
So as we can see, Oppo's clearly taking some shots at Samsung, and hey, I honestly think it's really funny when companies do this, because we see this all the time. Samsung goes after Apple, Apple goes after Android. We see this happen all the time, so it's really happy to, not really happy, but it's funny to see what Oppo's doing here and what specific things they're taking shots at Samsung, and how Samsung maybe can kind of pick off after this, because as I've mentioned previously, I feel like Samsung's not really competing with these Chinese smartphones anymore, which honestly kind of sucks, which is kind of the thing back in the day that kind of made Samsung stand out with their innovation and stuff like that. So hopefully Samsung sees what Oppo's saying here and is like, maybe we can make some improvements here. So Samsung, if you're seeing this, I'm just saying maybe you want to integrate it with the S25 Ultra or maybe the S26 Ultra, because we're already kind of close to that launch date, so I doubt any changes are going to be made right now. And now with another company that they didn't take shots at, but kind of working with in a sense. Let me know what you guys think when I explain this. But Oppo kind of introduced something that was honestly really fascinating to me, and I was like, wait, how is this working here? So pretty much, you know how when you have two iPhones, you put them together, you can share contacts, photos, videos, all that stuff. Well, you can do that with an iPhone and an Oppo phone. So they did a demonstration on this where someone had an iPhone, another person had an Oppo, put them together, and they can actually file transfer and stuff like that. I don't know what black wizard magic stuff Oppo's doing here, but this is honestly really cool and honestly breaks the barrier between iOS and Android users because, hey, I'd love to see this come to other phones. I don't know if it will because, like I said, I don't know what they're doing to achieve this, but hey, it actually breaks that barrier of the confliction between like iOS and Android, and I'm really happy to see it because at the end of the day, want both of these like kind of operating systems to be able to kind of join together and just make it not seem so segregated. So shout out to Oppo for doing this, but I want to see if this is going to roll out on future phones or any other phones because, like I said, I don't really know what they're doing to achieve this. Moreover, on the OS really quick, this is actually Color OS 15, and I really want to just really give props to Oppo here. This is such a smooth operating system. Now, Chinese manufacturers always have really smooth operating systems, but dang, this looks good. So I'm really happy. I've always been really happy with Oppo's themes and customizations because I feel like they have some of the best looking and widest selection of customizations for like the always on display, lock screen and all that stuff. So huge props, one of my favorite operating systems as I mentioned, but it's just super nice to see how smooth, how customizable, and just how pretty this operating system looks because I feel like a lot of people are kind of into that software side because at the end of the day, that's all you're looking at your phone. You've seen your home screen, you've seen your lock screen, how the icons look. It looks fantastic. Huge double thumbs up to Oppo. I'm loving how you guys have improved software and really kind of listened to user feedback and just improved the overall user experience. Really happy to see this. And one more thing, speaking of Apple, that Oppo integrated in these phones is a capture button. Now, I'm not the type of guy to say this company copied this company copied that, because at the end of the day, didn't Apple kind of get that idea from Sony phones back in the day? Anyway, it's all cool. I still think the capture button is very useless, but hey, I'm just saying, I haven't used it yet on the Oppo, so maybe they have a different fun twist to this, but I gotta try it for myself when I end up getting the X8 Ultra. But hey, there is a capture button on these phones. And now for my final impressions. The Oppo Find X8 lineup has got to be the best new smartphone introduction and release from Oppo, period. Now, I know this is pretty typical when a new smartphone manufacturer releases a new phone. Okay, this is their best launch yet. This has been special, to be honest with you guys, because Oppo has made huge improvements, and I am super happy with all of them. Their OS, they continue to deliver one of the best, smoothest operating systems on any Chinese smartphone market, period. The cameras, although the sensor size is decreased, they still turn out as beautiful shots that can be seen as improvements from last year's smartphones. Their AI for their camera is on another level from what I've seen on the demo on their site. Gonna be able to see for myself when I end up getting this phone. But AI, great to see Oppo's killing it in the camera game, as always. And just like little things here, like display specs, the battery size, the charging speed. Overall, just super, super impressed with this phone. And to top it all off, this phone's coming global, to the global market. I am especially super excited for that because I've wanted to have an Oppo phone again for quite some time, and I just typically like having global phones in my pockets or with me. So that's my impressions. I'm super happy about this phone. I love Oppo, and I'm super excited to see what this phone has, and I can't wait to have it in my hands because I just can't wait for the Ultra to come out. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you guys own an Oppo? Do you guys plan on buying this phone? Let me know. I want to hear all of you guys' thoughts. That's going to pretty much wrap up this video, guys. Let me know in the comments below all your thoughts about the new Oppo Find X8 lineup. This was my first impressions and everything I know about the phone as of now. I'm really excited for this phone, and I hope you guys are too. Thank you guys for tuning in as always, and I'll catch you guys in my next YouTube video. Peace.